Let's talk about the pros and cons of deleting your diesel emissions. The pros. One, you get better fuel mileage. I've talked to, countless guys who have deleted their emissions and they immediately see an improvement in their fuel mileage. They also see an improvement in horsepower. They say their truck pulls better. It just overall drives better once they get their diesel emissions deleted. You also save money by not having to buy diesel exhaust fluid. I don't know how they come up with the pricing for diesel exhaust fluid, but it makes me laugh every time I pull up to the pump and I see the price of diesel exhaust fluid. It's like, do they just randomly pull these numbers out of thin air? Why does this cost so much? It's a man-made manufactured thing. So I don't know, man. Once again, I just feel like when it comes to the trucking industry, we just get taken advantage of at every turn. But I digress. Also, you save money by not having to pay for diesel exhaust repairs. I mean, like I said in the previous video, the repairs on these trucks are exponentially expensive. With the after treatment system being so complicated, you end up spending so much money just trying to keep that system maintained and fixed. But I will say, if you're the type of person that stays on top of it and, you got to stay on top of the maintenance, man. Maintenance. That may prolong the life of your after treatment system, but just overall, eventually the after treatment system is always gonna be a headache. I mean, please, diesel engine engineers, please find a way to prove me wrong. Please. Another pro for deleting your emissions is you won't have to deal with any more of the time-consuming regens. Like I said before, those regens have a funny way of, rearing their heads when you have to be somewhere, when you're short on time. And, guess what? Now it's time for a regen. Now you're going to have to sit and wait 45 minutes to an hour for that truck to complete its regen. All right, so that's another benefit of not having after treatment on your truck. No more derates. Anybody that has driven an after treatment truck for any extended period of time will know what derates are. Derates are when your truck just automatically slows down on its own. Most trucks, I know mine, it would derate me down to 55. So you'd be on the highway and your truck will automatically slow down to 55 miles an hour by itself. Then after a while, it derates all the way down to 5 miles an hour. Okay, so that's another benefit of not having after treatment on your truck. All right. Okay, another benefit to not having DPF, DEF, after treatment, whatever you want to call it, emissions. Another benefit to not having that on your truck is no more DPF, no more EGR cleaning. For the certain engines have different types of filters. I know the DD15, the Detroit DD15, I had DPF filters on my truck, diesel particulate filters. And periodically you would have to have those cleaned or have new ones put in. And I don't remember exactly what the cost was, but it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap to clean them, and it wasn't cheap to get new ones. And for the DD15, if I recall correctly, there were 2 filters on that truck. And you could get them clean for, I don't know, around, I think it was like $1,500. And then I think the new filters were a little bit more than the cleaning cost. So again, just another one of those things that's going to take money out of your pocket. So that's another benefit to not having after treatment on your truck. No more DPF, no more EGR, none of that headache. All right. So Those are some of the major benefits of not having emissions after treatment, DEF, on your truck. Now, let's get into the downsides of deleting your emissions, all right? The number one downside to deleting your emissions is that it is illegal. Emissions tampering is a federal offense. I repeat, emissions tampering is a federal offense. I've read somewhere that you could receive a fine of up to $10,000 or more. So be careful. Be careful because weigh stations are checking for it now. And as a driver myself, I can look at a truck going down the road and tell you whether or not the emissions are deleted. I know that sounds crazy, but I've spent so much time on the road, I have developed a keen eye and a keen ear for knowing whether or not a truck is deleted. For instance, one of the main ways I'm able to tell whether or not a truck is deleted is if you're riding down, like, the main way I would be able to tell is I would be on the highway beside a truck, and on the passenger side of the truck, if that truck is passing me, there's this faint smoke that comes out of the passenger side of a lot of these trucks that have the emissions deleted. There's a certain sound they make. I can't describe the sound, but when they're idling, there's a certain sound they make when they've been deleted. Personally, I can tell. Now, I'm not the emissions whisperer, but I can tell when those emissions have been deleted. And I don't know if the DOT officers have such a keen eye for it, but you know, this is, for all intents and purposes, this is what I've been doing for a very long time now, and this has been, you know, a problem that I have researched so much that, you know, I have developed a keen eye for it. And then also, let me say that I see a lot of guys, they get the new, they'll have the newer emissions trucks, and they take those engines out and they'll put like a Detroit 60 series engine or a pre-emissions engine in the newer trucks. And let me tell you, that is illegal also. You cannot do that. Well, let me say, you can do it. It's physically possible because I see guys doing it all the time, but just know it's illegal. So, you know, just be aware of that. All right. All right, moving on. Deleting your emissions is risky because it may destroy your engine. What you have to realize is that the engineers who design these engines, they design these engines for the after treatment system to be a part of the engine. So when you delete that engine, you're basically changing the identity of that engine. You're changing the DNA of that engine. And you know how that goes. You know, it's a gamble. It's a major gamble. I have talked to guys that have had their engines deleted, and they have had absolutely no problem whatsoever. Then I have talked to guys who've had their engines deleted, and it was just problem after problem after. I mean, they literally opened up a can of worms. And the problem with that is now you can't take it back to the dealership when something goes wrong with the truck, because the dealership is bound by law to report you if they find any tampering with the emission system. So you may take your truck into the shop and, you know, you think they're back there working on it. Then, you know, you may get a visit, you know, an unwanted visit from somebody because you tampered with that emission system. So that's another downside to deleting your emissions. So be careful. It also voids the warranty on your engine. All right, so that's That's a no-brainer. If you tamper with the emissions, your warranty is done. There's nothing that can be said or done to rectify that. I mean, other than, putting it back in its original state. And even then, if there's still visible signs of it being tampered with, you still may run the chance of your emissions, your engine warranty being voided. And then also, like I was saying earlier about, not being able to go to the dealership anymore. Now you have to find a good mechanic that knows how to work on a deleted engine truck, right? So think about this. It's hard to find someone to work on a diesel emissions truck with everything still intact. So now imagine trying to find a mechanic that knows how to work on a deleted engine. All right? Just something to keep in mind. And then also know that the EPA is cracking down on these deleted engines. There's some weigh stations when you pull in, they're actually checking for it now. So it's risky. It's very, very, very risky. Okay? So proceed with caution. Now, with all that being said, let's get down to some practical, real life situations with deleting your emissions. Overall, do I think you should delete your emissions? I know y'all are gonna be mad at me for saying this, but it depends. The technical, legal, logical answer is no. I don't think you should delete your emissions. I just wholeheartedly do not think you should do it. And for all of the reasons that I just recently expressed, there's a gamut of reasons why I don't think you should do it. Now, with that being said, is not deleting your emissions always practical? No, it's not. Sometimes, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. My situation was, I had just finished paying my truck off. My truck was paid for. And the emission system just took a dump on me. It was over. And I had a choice to make. I had already spent so much time, so much effort, so much money in repairing that after treatment system. And then it just got to the point where it was replace the whole system, which was very, very, very expensive. So I had a decision to make. I said, do I delete it and take all of these risks? Or do I just say, you know what? Go ahead and get another truck and don't ever buy another truck that has after treatments, an after treatment system on it. So that's what I chose to do. I chose to just buy a glider kit truck and be done with emissions once and for all. Because here was my thought process behind that. I said, even if I replace this whole after treatment system, guess what? In a few years, I'm gonna have the same problem again. So you're always stuck in this cycle of dishing out a whole lot of money, getting the after treatment system fixed. It works okay for a few years. And then bam, a few years later, you're in the same predicament again. I didn't want to have to deal with that, man. Just didn't want to have to deal with it. So I went out and I bought another truck. End of discussion. No more after treatment problems, no more headaches. And I finally had a peace of mind. I never, ever, ever had a peace of mind the whole time I drove that truck with the after treatment system on it. Because I knew at any moment that truck could go down on me because of the after treatment system. So, never had a peace of mind. But once I got my glider kit truck, I would ride down the highway on cloud 9, just knowing that I didn't have to deal with that anymore. So, Should you delete your emissions is going to depend on your situation. If you're in a situation where it's go out of business because of the after treatment system, because that's the position I was in. The after treatment system had literally put me in a position to say, do I let my business fold or do I delete it? And if that's the predicament you're in, if you're in a predicament where you can't go out and buy another truck and your after treatment system is just shot, you got to do what you got to do, man. You got to do what you got to do to continue to put food on the table for you and your family. You got to do what you got to do to keep a roof over your head. And it's sad that that's what it comes down to, but that is literally the position I was in. And everybody was telling me, man, just delete it, just delete it. But, you know, I'm not the type of person that just does what everybody else says to do. You know, everybody else was saying how great it was when they deleted theirs. But then I also had people on the flip side who told me don't do it because they had so many issues with their truck after they deleted their after treatment system. Me personally, I wouldn't delete it. I would say no, don't delete it for a number of reasons. Don't delete it. If you have a way out, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end it right here. If you have a way out and you don't have to delete that engine, if you can go and buy another truck, then don't delete it. Just get rid of the truck and get you another truck. But this time when you get your new truck, make the right decision. Don't buy anything with after treatment on it. Now, if you're in a position where you can't go out and buy another truck, then my brother, my sister, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm gonna leave it right there. I hope this helps somebody. I'm out. Peace.